what is Flowverse for anyone that does not know?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having us up. Super pumped for this space to be here with you guys and AFL Mint's team as well, to talk a bit about Flow blockchain as well as AFL Mint, which is the AFL's officially licensed NFT project. So very excited to hear from them too. But yeah, to get straight into it. So Flow blockchain is a layer one blockchain. It's pretty similar to Ethereum, Solana, Avalanche, Near, in that it's a platform that developers can build applications, NFTs, and fungible tokens on top of. What differentiates Flow from the other blockchains is its focus on onboarding mainstream consumers into the crypto space. So we've seen products such as NBA Top Shot, UFC Strike, NFL All Day, offering beautiful user experience to try and onboard mainstream consumers onto the network. And it was also a blockchain that was built in response to a problem, which I think is pretty key. So it was built by the team that created CryptoKitties in response to problems they had scaling on Ethereum. So the CryptoKitties team literally took down the network back in 2017, 2018, and that led them to found Flow, a more scalable blockchain suited to consumer applications. A fun fact actually about Flow blockchain is that the CTO of Flow was actually the guy who created the NFT standard on Ethereum in the first place and coined the term NFT. So that's pretty huge. And then Flowverse itself, which I'm co-founder of, you can think of as the app store for Flow blockchain. So Flowverse is a website that you can go to discover all the different applications, projects, and NFTs built on Flow. It's pretty similar to CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, or DappRadar, but just for Flow blockchain. So there's different statistics on all the NFTs, for example, sales data, number of holders, that kind of information, as well as kind of an upcoming drop calendar, jobs on Flow, all of that different jazz. And I'm Melbourne based as well.
Melbourne based, let's go. And we have David Alley also up here. Thank you for sharing that. David, how you doing? He is a representative of the AFL Mint team. Good to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thank you. I think, can you hear me on that? I've sort of had to come through a different login.
We can hear you very well.
Great.
Very well.
Great. Awesome.
I just want to quickly say, just before we do dive in, for everyone here in the audience, guys, we're giving away a free float, which is it's a float NFT. It's essentially a POAP on the Flow blockchain. So stick around to the end. We'll give you details for that. There is also a POAP for this event as well. So you don't get one free NFT tonight, you get two. So yeah, excited for that. Stick around for that. And yeah, over to you, David. I think what we'll say is, I think the next question is, excuse my voice, my husky voice. I've had a few events in the weekend, but I think I think the next question we'll ask is, David, why is the AFL chosen to use Flow blockchain out of all the other blockchains?
Look, I think it's quite obvious in some sense, from all very new to us. So, the explanation that was just given previously was a lot of the good advice we've had at the AFL over the last nearly 18 months since we started this project in the early part of 2021. So, of course, we've done our own research and made our own assessments all during that period, but in particular in the last 6 months since we joined up in the partnership with Animoca Brands, and then sort of officially released that partnership a few months ago. So there's been a lot of support and advice, from the team at Animoca, and I'm sure a few of them are on the line tonight. But certainly that seems to be where the sports brands are landing. We were lucky enough to have good relationships with the big leagues in the US. They're very kind with their time, as they always are. So, we learnt a lot from them and continue to do that. So there was a lot of positivity around the benefits to the scale and to the lower fees and what the ongoing development. If there's more sports brands in there, we feel like that ecosystem is then going to and collaborations in time may actually be really beneficial as well. We're all sort of playing in our own brands at the moment, but if we're all on the same chain, who knows what could come around utility and other opportunities, across code and across continents.
And it's fantastic to see Flow build from where they have from Top Shot, and also other gaming, esports, also sporting focus, which is beautiful to see because they've not only had great success with Top Shot, but have come around now to land in Australia through the AFL Mint. I want to introduce Block Choi. Block Choi, why don't you give a bit of an intro about how you got connected to the Flowverse and AFL team?
Yeah, thanks for that, and thanks, David, for joining us. He's a very, very busy man and a hard guy to track down. So I'm very pleased we were able to pull this off. And also, massive shout out to NFT Melbourne. You guys are just killing the game. I love hearing the story of your progress. Telling me you guys were sitting down with 6 people, 8 people around the round table, like the Knights, King Arthur's Knights, and now kicking off events with 300 plus people. Just very briefly, you guys, I got in touch with a mate of James, actually, who told me, oh, NFTs, you should talk to this guy. We got on a phone call, lots and lots of positive vibes. Next thing you know, I was told about one of your events that you guys were kicking off, which was about a couple of weeks ago. I went to that and I was invited Flowverse. Another shout out to those guys. I think they're doing a fantastic job. And the other James came in. We both went, and I was just blown away by the atmosphere that you guys are just generating across the board, and thought it was very unique, particularly because you're working within that IRL space. So it's nice to connect up with you guys, and we really appreciate being on here.
Our pleasure to host you. It's awesome to see the in real life translate to online and online translating into real life. That's what we're trying to bring through NFT Melbourne, right? Is the real human connection, and talk about the projects too. Talk about what people are doing in real life to understand on a far deeper level, because collaboration is key in this space, and without each other, we aren't going anywhere. Let's talk about blockchain technology and how that's integrated within AFL. I'll throw this one to David in terms of why you wanted to join alongside Mr. Blockchoy over here.
Eddie's a champion, we can tell already. Look, it's been great to have Eddie come on board through the Animaker team and learn this Discord space. Even our social media team, who are deep across the AFL in all channels, weren't really around that space. So everybody in AFL head office in Docklands there in Melbourne is really enjoying all the features and functionality and the dialogue and the new engagement we're having just in this short period. So it's been we're everyone's diving in. There's a real buzz around the office, particularly when we've only just started to head back in the office, in person. So there's a real buzz. And then, flowing on from that, the Blockdo piece for us, again, like, on this side of the Web3 space, we've certainly, big reasons around partnering with Animoca, big reasons around setting up a strong advisory group over the last 12 months to help lead us and guide us through this space and help us make the right decisions as a partnership, and we've been so grateful to, it's great to have everybody on here tonight. And I've spoken to many. I've not said no to a single call or a video call or an online hookup or a meet and greet, to just take on the network effect. And something that, I don't think is done enough in sport, let alone in business. So we've really loved this space, and all the advice has been that for us with the flow chain and then with the Blockday wallet set up, it's the frictionless side of it with the onboarding and offboarding for our community, and the app itself with the features, that we want to include around having AUD and, obviously we'll have Bitcoin and anything there as well. But certainly we sort of thought for the full end-to-end integration, with the features and functionality we needed, that and more to come, I'm sure. But that was a key reason besides behind our inclusion of the Blockday app and wallet.
Oh, that's beautiful, mate. Well said. I think, it's really exciting what you guys are doing. I think the next question that I've got is, why is the AFL interested in NFTs? Like, what sparked the curiosity to initially go, hey, you know what? There's something here with these NFTs. Maybe we should launch our own project. What initially sparked that?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, and it's an obvious answer in the very initial stage, but it's evolved and developed and expanded immensely since then. So it was, Feb last year, 2021, everyone probably starting to come out of COVID, we thought. But it was the headlines that many of all of you guys would have seen, and were certainly sparking executive interest in sport in this country. I'm sure not just AFL, but all the leagues, around the numbers that NBA Top Shots, was then getting reported, and some of the secondary market sale numbers that were getting thrown around, or not thrown around, were actually being achieved. And that was right. Let's go and see what's going on there. That was the initial part, but I guess we've since developed our thinking and our strategy a lot further than that. We're in this for the long haul. We believe in, and again, that's the reason, a big reason behind the partnership with Animoca. We see it much deeper. It's, the commercials would not even now really be on our radar at an AFL strategic level around the conversation. This is, we know it's here to stay. We want to be in it and be able to be on this journey and develop. Yes, we're starting with digital collectibles, and we'll start in the NFT space. And I think everyone will be really impressed and blown away by the actual product drops that we release. Obviously, early on, it's beta phase, but I think it'll be a really strong start. We'll develop and grow really quickly, but I think the way we then look to broaden the community features, the utility features, and do, two objectives from our end. One is to certainly engage in new ways across our fan base and new fan base, and then two is to how do we layer that on a lot of our existing traditional ways, like you just mentioned, in a physical way and a digital way, and hopefully be ahead of the curve in this country.
I agree. Drew, you mentioned something very specific in terms of long term. Obviously, the partnership with Animoca, phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely, anyone in here in this space that's building something, that's a big tick on the radar. It's a big tick on any project looking into it. As a investor collector myself, it's something that I'm looking for. Within the long term capabilities, let's talk on what that type of NFT is going to look like, right? Because AFL, obviously, for the branding perspective, can't come in with a cash grab. And we know we've seen these influencers come in and they throw up an NFT and they run away. But obviously, the AFL is different. We know they're going to move different. What does that NFT look like? Is it a collectible, trading card? What are we going to see if you can drop any alpha?
Yeah. Look, it will. I think everyone's seeing now the Genesis Ball releases that we've been doing, the little snippet releases that have been going out. That'll really feature as a utility NFT, and there'll be a lot more to talk about around that. But I think when it comes to the actual, it will be along similar lines in a way of what we're seeing with moments, and real highlight footage. But certainly in an AFL branded and an AFL environment way, our game presents differently, right? We know that we have a much bigger ground to cover. Our broadcast angles are far wider, and capture a footy that's going over 50, 60 metres versus, most of your other sports, whether it's NBA, NFL, MLB, they're quite focused. They can just be zeroed in on, a few square metres at the end of a basketball court or one play in NFL. So I think you'll see the way ours presents and delivers is unique to the AFL brand, which is cool. Our product, we're just so, our production and design and brand team have just been so excited about this project from day one. And they've loved actually being able to get out of the traditional brand guidelines of clubs and AFL logos and have a lot of fun with this.
I was hoping I could maybe ask David a question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
From my recollection and memory is you had a very unique opportunity to talk to Yat Sui not so long ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The founder of Animoca. So yeah, if you could share some of that.
Oh look, this forum tonight and always the big positive energy. Yat was one of those ones, and everyone has been the same in this space. As I said, we had plenty of approaches throughout last year when we were going through the expression of interest process. In and around that, there was all sorts of different approaches as well, individuals, companies from all over the world. And we took everyone, but Yat was one that I got introduced to jump online. His response from the very first email to jumping on several online calls, and he really just played an educational role with us. He just was so generous with his time. From the outset, he was there to help, and being, Australia-based company only a few years ago, and lots has happened since I jumped online with Yat, probably April last year. So, all of you guys would know what's happened with their business to that point, and now in this last 12 plus months is a phenomenal story, right? And he's just a phenomenal guy. And yeah, he was there to help, whether we ended up doing business together or not. He was going to be an advisory. He was going to be a supporter. He was going to be a fan of the program. But he ended up being, him and Animoca ended up being a partner. So testament to the way, he operates, I guess. And the partnership has been, I think, a new blueprint for how partnerships should operate and the approach he has.
That's amazing. Yeah, Animoca, I mean, they've established themselves as that brand, that sort of, I don't know, blue chip sort of brand, I guess, that, everyone's knows quite well in the space now, and they're collaborating with, all the big players, from Yuga Labs to, now the AFL. So it's really, really good to see. I'm just going to quickly chuck it back over to Flowverse. Flowverse, how exactly are you guys helping, the AFL achieve this the AFL Mint?
Yeah, for sure. So with all Flow blockchain projects being the place that people can go to discover them in the first place, we often co-host AMAs. We help promote Flow projects via listing them on our website, putting their NFT drops on our NFT drop calendar, that kind of aspect. So yeah, I think it's really mainly just from the promotional end. I mean, when I saw that AFL was building on Flow originally,
I think you're covering your mic there, Flo.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, easy, awesome. So yeah, I think it's mainly from a promotional standpoint. When I first saw that AFL was coming on Flow, I was super excited by it. And then I was so stoked when actually the AFL reached out to Flowverse, which is really cool, because I mean, we literally would have the other way around, sort of like immediately anyway. So yeah, super stoked to be on this call with them, and to be helping support their drop. We've got a channel in the Flowverse Discord for people to go in and check out and see what's happening on the AFL Mint. We were involved in sort of like one of the early announcements of the AFL Mint project to Flow blockchain supporters. It's a pleasure working with all these awesome brands that are coming onto Flow.
And James, if I can just add to that, I mean, it's just a little stat for tonight. I mean, we are, any brand, and of course, sports brands and any business brand is always trying to expand their reach and get new customers or new fans or new followers, etc. And already we're seeing from our signups, I'm happy to share here tonight, like 50% of our registrations so far are new to any AFL database. So to us, this is just the very beginning. We haven't launched a product yet. So for us, that Flowverse network and all the support you guys are giving us is really being noticed. And all the great work Eddie's doing through Discord. These are people that we hope to turn into big fans of AFL. And meeting them in a way that we would have never otherwise been able to reach them through traditional means.
And talking on that, adding on that, you've mentioned you've had some really good response. What has been the response from the AFL fans? Are they looking forward to it? Are they not understanding? Is it a standpoint of you have to educate these fans coming along?
Absolutely.
What's happening?
A real mix, all of that. I think Eddie's seen that live inside the Discord where, like our social team say to us as well, most things we will have our avid fans in anything we do and anything we release through all of our major channels. And no matter what we put out there, they'll be talking about footy, whether it's the umpires or whether it's the, buddy, should you've got a week or not, or whatever the footy topics are. And much of our avid fans, like tradition. So, going to mobile tickets, it took and mobile membership cards. It took a pandemic for us to get to, going, putting the foot down on digital ticketing and digital membership cards. So things take a little while in that space to our avids, but we understand that, and that will be a lot of education. And I think you'll see some explainer content come out just this week as we start to educate, and that will be an ongoing comm strategy from our end, absolutely. And then we'll segment a lot of the other data sets to, throughout the membership club membership categories or our other databases where we know there'll be strong adoption.
I think just off the back of what David was saying and mentioning, what's the enthusiasm behind AFL. I think it was quite clear, especially with this forum and NFT Melbourne. As soon as it just said, "Hey, g'day, how's everybody? Oh, what do you do?" Because everyone was super friendly, trying to find out why you're there, what excites you. And as soon as I dropped AFL, it's like everything else just went out the window. People are just like, "Oh my God, like AFL, really? Wow, that's incredible." So that was very clear to me that there's so many fans in this space. And when people coming into the Discord, I mean, we had some shout outs even from Europe saying they jump in there just to talk a little bit about AFL because they've unraveled and discovered it a couple of years ago and think the sport's fantastic. So it's very clear to me that the game is almost like a religion for some, and they're trickling through the Discord. They're meeting face to face in forums like this, and I think they're very excited to see the digital products come to life and some of the utility that's going to come with it.
So just on utility, right? I think that rolls into the next question. So, what utility can we expect from, the AFL Mint, and, what does that roadmap look like?
Yeah, again, there'll be, some of the obvious things that you would think, and we've sort of just put them at a high level within some of the releases to date from our traditional areas and in a real sense and a physical sense. So, is that exclusive ticketing to exclusive matches and is it games that are hard to get to? For sure. Does it go all the way through to grand final ticketing? Yes, probably. does it add to, if you're already a member and you're already going, or you already have tickets, that there's upgrades, or right through to hospitality, exclusive hospitality areas. I'd love to have a group, whoever's here in Australia on this call tonight, like to have an NFT. NBA have been doing that very well, and just an AFL Mint hub at Marvel Stadium, where you would have to be an NFT holder and potentially have had to do a bunch of things to get into some exclusive areas at the ground, and then how we integrate that into the match day activities on big screens and VR, etc., etc. Redevelopment going on at Marvel Stadium at the moment, which is really exciting for those that are in Melbourne. That will be finished sort of the middle of next year. Big new merch superstore, cool 7-day-a-week bar and a feature bar, and then a really sort of activation Disney zone, Marvel Disney zone. So I can really see the AFL Mint brand being a part of those spaces. So really, that's an endless. That's when we say roadmap, we are beta. It's test and learn. So we will sort of tick all the boxes around a lot of those traditional physical aspects, and then we'll work very closely with Animoca on the digital side. We'll have some digital components as well, whether it's KO Footy or lots of different digital things we can do. But we will, we know what Yat and Jordan and Simon, the Animoca local team, will look globally for us on the utility from the Animoca network, from digital integration and digital opportunities. So that's really exciting for us. It's all exciting, but I think some of those physical things will be new and leveraged, and then the digital aspect is where we can get global for those people that aren't in Australia or aren't close to going to a game and things like that.
And it definitely puts the NFT debunking of a myth at the play when it's actual utility you can use in real life. When you can touch it, you can feel it. You can feel an upgrade of beer, or upgrade of a ticket, or upgrade of a seat. The question that I wanted to lay into was collaboration. As you know, David, Flowverse, Rowdy knows this. Collaboration's key in this space. How can we see AFL Mint collaborating with any local projects, or even any other sporting projects like the NBL? We know AO Metaverse has a product out, or the Australian Open, for those that don't know. What type of collaborations can we see from the AFL Mint?
For sure, Daniel. Look. We haven't put anything down in detail or even at a high level, but we've certainly been having that conversation across, within our partnership with Animoca, and it's definitely in our thinking. Obviously, there's a lot just to get to the line on releasing this first drop and building a startup business from zero, ground up. But it's interesting because, as an example, to those that are in that sort of space, you think of things that already happen now for fans and for businesses, where we're all going to multiple sports. We're all going to the A-League, we're all going to the NBL or netball, or NRL, etc., or particularly if you're in the one town. And we're all buying tickets, and we're all buying them through Ticketmaster or Ticketek, and we're buying memberships, or our businesses, get hospitality across, whether it's Australian Open or the Vic Racing Carnival, etc. So that's all done very manually and very disparately. I can actually see where Web3 and NFTs and utility is a far simpler way for us to collaborate across codes, and I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and just to add, if I can, Daniel, first, that's a fantastic comment and question, and I think maybe what the differential here is comparison to what we're building and working on versus the Australian Open is that seemed to come across as a bit of a kind of like a seasonal thing, or just maybe a one-off, or just trial and test. And this is a really dedicated space that we're collectively evolving, and the community certainly plays a strong element in all that.
Yeah, awesome. That's great to hear. I think I've just got a couple of I guess it's like a two-pronged question. We touch base on utility for the holders, but I think the big question is how do the players actually benefit from this? Do proceeds of the sales go to the players, or what's their play in this whole NFT play?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, and really exciting engagement from a number of players individually, but the Players Association has just been they're pumped. They really are. They understand the scale of our game and the amount of zeros that are on a lot of the end of things in the US. So obviously we manage expectations, but yeah, there's been a deal struck, a really good deal that the players and the Players Association are very comfortable with as we launch this. Just like a lot of other licensed product that you see, whether it's trading cards or memorabilia, etc. So there's a deal in place that they get across the board, and then if we do individual programs, like there might be something like a Buddy 1000 Gold program when that might be released. We would obviously do an individual deal there, and that has some guidelines and frameworks around that help us sort of get to a good place, like we do with any Brownlow medal winners or Norm Smith medalists and big milestones. So I think where the agility and the ease, I think, in which players can actually get involved with this, and I think the utility features, the imagination can run wild. How a player can actually be involved and benefit, but also engage with their fans and their club far more. So yeah, really looking excited
Legend.
for how they come into it. And
Likewise,
organically.
It's like putting, in the way I see it, it's putting the artist first within the NFT space, and in this context, it's putting the players first and foremost, because without the players, there's no game.
Absolutely.
Without AFL, the association, there's no AFL, and without the fans, it's a whole full circle.
Yeah.
I want to finalize the space. This is an AMA, so we're going to start taking a few questions, maybe one or two questions from the general audience. If you want to jump up, request and ask a question to David, Floverse, Rowdy, Block Choi, or myself. Wrapping up, it's a bear market, and obviously it's a very complicated time to launch an NFT project. Two parts. When can we see this dropping, and is there any whitelists? How do we get on the whitelist? What does that look like?
For sure. So look, we are only weeks away. I'd like to give you an exact date, but that's still penciled at this stage. So we've got a bracket there, but it is only weeks. We are just entering final testing stages imminently. So that's really exciting, and we'll make sure we're not going to put ourselves under extreme pressure on getting out on a fixed date. We want to ensure that when we do launch, it's done right. So we'll take extra time and care there, but not too far away. So please hang in there. We're as excited as all you guys. And then, sorry, what was the other part to that question?
Yeah, no, it was when can we see it dropping, and then whitelist.
Yes.
What is the process of that?
For sure. So we'll have some more details around that again within the next couple of weeks. Certainly, we're taking good leads from the Animoca team on that, given that that's their experience of sort of dealing in that network partnership and whitelist space. So certainly, Eddie will probably be the first. Block Troy will be the first to announce some of those items through the Discord. So stay tuned in there.
Awesome. And yeah, we understand that you can't give a concrete date. It's a bear market. I'm not surprised either. Launching it's a big and bold move launching it in this space. We have Posty up here. Posty, do you have a question, my friend?
Yeah, dude. This sounds interesting. Very interesting. I've got a few questions, but I'll keep it to one or two. David, I'm just curious. Have you thought about any kind of mental health aspect? Because I know that the AFL does have a big well, say this, I think it's this week they've got Spuds round. Like, have you thought about for these different rounds potentially partnering with, say, potential projects that are looking at these different aspects to support these different, say, facilitations or these different industries, or not industries, but these different oh god, I'm looking for,
Initiatives.
sorry,
Initiatives.
initiatives to improve research and shit like that.
So I think rephrasing the question, does the AFL Mint plan to work alongside any charities or any mental health or mental wellness programs or projects even, David?
Yeah, sorry, wasn't sure. There was a bit of downtime there. Look, certainly, I think as the long-term strategy that I mentioned earlier on is that we see Web3 being integral and integrated across our entire business and aligned strategically. So, the other big things that are on our radar or already across our business will layer in, as part of that two stream objective of layering on all of our traditional and current strategies, and then looking for new ways to engage.
Question.
So where it comes to our community partners, our charitable partners, our corporate partners, obviously big on across the AFL is mental health, across the playing group, the coaching group, the umpires group, staff, etc. So where there's all those opportunities, we will track them down. And hence we don't see this just as, of course, we want the digital collectibles and the NFT piece to be, as good as anything else going on in this space. But we believe we'll go a lot wider than that, a lot quicker, and integrate across things like that. So thanks for the question. It's really important to us.
Legend, thank you, Posty.
No worries.
I'll throw it to Flowverse. They have something special for everyone in the audience that is listening, and then I'll touch on POP and what is the use cases around that.
Is this the float, Daniel?
That is the one, my friend.
Massive. So float is, so you can think of float as basically a POAP, but on float blockchain. So it's a proof of attendance NFT, a pretty cool souvenir that you are here in this space. How do you give out your POAPs usually? Can we share a link?
No, we won't share a link just to avoid any farming. So just for a bit of context for anyone that is new to POAP, POAP stands for Proof of Attendance Protocol. So pretty much it's a big stamp that says you've attended this space, you've been to the first AFL Mint Twitter space, which is massive in history when we lay out 50 years down the line, and it's like being at the first ever AFL players game. That's the way I see it. It's wild. Nonetheless, anyone that does have the POAP app, it's free. There is a secret word, and I want to say it very clearly, and that way everyone can get their free POAP. The secret word is, in capital letters, AFL up. AFLUP. AFL up to claim your free POAP. We'll be closing it soon, so go and get it very soon to avoid any farming. That way we can just give it out to all the OGs in the space at the moment. Flowverse, did you want to touch on float?
Yeah, easy. Awesome. So for float, probably the easiest way for us to do this will be there will be a link posted below this Twitter space, and the code that you enter into that link is AFL Mint, all in capital letters. So I'll post the link now as a comment to this Twitter space, and you're looking for the code, and the code that you enter into it is AFL NFT. AFL NFT. Awesome.
Legends, we are going to wrap up this space. Thank you very much for coming along, David. Absolute pleasure. Any final words for the individuals? We have artists in the room, builders, founders, collectors, investors, degens as we call them, and of course developers. Any final words in regards to the AFL Mint? Anything you're excited about?
There, David?
Yes.
Rogged? Question mark.
Thought I rogged.
Sorry, we're on demand.
I think it rogged. Any final words, my friend? Any final words?
Yeah, for sure. Look, thank you for having us on. Like you said, this will, it's a very different space for us to be, working within, and we just never thought that this would be, where we're at 12 months ago. I mean, 12 months is a long time on one hand, but it's not given what we're embarking on. So, really, really exciting. Like you said, different time for us to be launching, but also a good time and lots of opportunities. Nice to get it done, before the end of 2022 season. But thanks everyone for your continued support, the feedback around the brand, and we're just welcoming all the support, whether feedback, whether it's good or productive, and we're taking it on board. We're all ears. We're listening to everyone in this space. We're not the experts, but we hope to engage with you all a lot more. And hopefully, when we're on here again, we've got more to talk about and something to give away as well.
Ooh, I'd like to hear it. Final question, David. We stick around
That's awesome.
Final question, David. Events. Can we see a future AFL Mint event coming out from the team?
Absolutely. Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what we want to hear.
You
I've
pulled
put
it
it out
out
there
of them.
now.
You guys pulled it out of them.
No, for sure. All
Very
right,
interesting.
That's all going to happen.
Go get your float pass. AFL Mint is the code, all capital letters. Your POAP, AFL up. It is a pleasure. Thanks for coming on Block Choi, Rowdy, David, Flowverse, and thanks for the questions.
Thanks for having us, guys. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing. Love it.
Yeah. Well
Thanks,
done, guys.
boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Good on you.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Have a
We'll
good
close
night.
David,
it
if you
up.
don't mind, could I DM you a few other questions I have afterwards?
For sure. Thanks, everybody. Peace, love.
Have a
Let's
great night.
roll up.